She texted me, "I'm just at home relaxing tonight," while her Instagram story showed her at a party with her ex. I replied with one message, "Nice party," then turned off my phone completely. "I'm just at home relaxing tonight, babe. Super tired. Going to bed early." I read that text and smiled. I actually smiled, because I trusted her completely, and that trust, right at that moment, was the most expensive mistake I had ever made in my life. I set my phone down, turned on the TV, and thought, good, she's resting. I didn't know that in about 40 seconds, I was going to open Instagram out of pure habit, the way you scroll when there's nothing to watch, and my entire world was going to tilt sideways. I want you to sit with something before I go any further. There's this specific kind of pain that doesn't hit you immediately. It's not the sharp, fast pain of a punch. It's slow. It moves through you like cold water filling up a room. Quiet, rising, and by the time you feel how high it's gotten, you're already underwater. That night taught me what that pain actually feels like. And I didn't realize it then, but that moment changed everything. Not just the relationship. Me. If you enjoy real stories like this, subscribe, because what happened next changed everything for me. I was 26. She was 24. We had been together for 2 years and 3 months. Not that I was counting, but she was, always, because anniversaries mattered to her. We lived in the same city, about a 20-minute drive apart. That's all you need to know. Her name was Cassie, and for 2 years, I thought I knew exactly who Cassie was. She was the kind of person who remembered your coffee order without asking. The kind of person who texted you good morning before you even woke up. The kind of person who cried at commercials, laughed too loud in movie theaters, and apologized to strangers when they bumped into her. Cassie was, and I mean this completely, the first person I had ever been with who made me feel like I wasn't too much. Previous relationships had always had this undertone of me needing to shrink. Talk less, feel less, want less. But Cassie said things like, "Tell me everything," and actually meant it. For 2 years, she meant it. And then something shifted. I noticed it maybe 3 or 4 months before that night. But I did what a lot of people do when they notice something they don't want to see. I looked away. I told myself it was stress, work pressure, just a phase. I told myself that because the alternative, that she was pulling away on purpose, was something I was not ready to hold. So I didn't. I kept showing up. I kept being present. I kept doing all the things I thought would pull her back. And for a while, I even believed it was working. That Friday started completely normal. I got off work around 6:30. Cassie and I had a loose plan. Nothing formal, just the way couples have those unspoken, "Let's probably hang out tonight," understandings. I texted her around 7. "Hey, you free tonight?" Was thinking we could grab food or just come over. She replied fast. Too fast, actually, which I didn't clock until later. "Ugh, I'm so exhausted. I think I'm just going to stay in tonight. Don't feel like doing anything." I typed back, "No worries, rest up. We can do something tomorrow." She sent back a heart emoji. One heart. Just the one. And I remember thinking, not consciously, just somewhere in the back of my mind, that felt a little flat. But I shook it off. I ordered food for myself. I sat down on my couch. I put on something I'd been meaning to watch for weeks. And about 45 minutes later, she sent me a follow-up text. "I'm just at home relaxing tonight, babe. Super tired. Going to bed early." I remember the exact phrasing. Just at home relaxing. Like she needed to reinforce it. Like one message wasn't enough. I responded, "Okay, sleep well. Love you." She sent back, "Love you too." That was 8:17 p.m. I put the phone down. I turned back to the TV. And maybe 20 minutes later, completely mindlessly, the way you check your phone when there's a lull in a show, I picked it up and opened Instagram. No reason, just habit. And the first thing that loaded, the very first story at the top of my feed, was Cassie's. Posted 4 minutes ago. I tapped it. She was at a party. Not a small, quiet gathering. A party, people in the background, music visible in the shake of the camera, red cups, someone mid-laugh behind her shoulder. She looked good. Hair done. Outfit I had never seen before. Full makeup. Not staying in makeup. Not super tired makeup. Going out makeup. And standing right next to her. Close. Not accidentally close. Deliberately close. The kind of close that has a whole conversation behind it. Was Tyler. Her ex. The one she told me was completely out of the picture. The one she described as just a weird chapter 1 closed a long time ago. That Tyler. Standing next to her. One hand raised toward the camera like he was about to take over filming. Both of them laughing at something I wasn't part of and would never know. I sat there. Phone in hand. story still playing, and I watched it loop back to the beginning and play again. I don't know why I let it play twice. Maybe some part of me was waiting for it to be different the second time. It wasn't. I looked at the timestamp on her last text to me. 8:17 p.m. I looked at the timestamp on the Instagram story. 8:34 p.m. 17 minutes. She had texted me, going to bed early, and 17 minutes later posted herself at a party with her ex on her public Instagram story. The same Instagram story I could see because she hadn't even thought to restrict it. She hadn't even considered that I might look. And that detail, that tiny, careless detail, told me more about where her head was than anything she could have said. I want you to understand what happened inside me in those next few minutes. Because it wasn't anger. Not at first. It was something quieter. Something that sat lower. It was the feeling of watching a version of yourself. The version that trusted, that gave the benefit of the doubt, that said she would never dissolve. Just quietly dissolve. Like something being washed out of a fabric. Gone. Irreversible. And what was left behind was this cold, flat clarity. Not rage. Not tears. Just oh, so this is what's been happening. This is what I was pretending not to see. I set the phone down on the cushion next to me. I stared at the TV. The show was still playing. Some character on screen was talking about something that suddenly felt completely absurd. I reached over, turned the TV off, sat in the silence for a moment, and then I picked up my phone, opened our text thread, and typed 2 words. Nice party. Sent. Then I turned my phone completely off. Not on silent. Not on do not disturb. Off. Held the button down, watched the screen go black, and set it face down on the coffee table. Then I sat back and breathed. Here's what I did not do. I did not call her. I did not drive to the party. I did not text Tyler. I did not spiral into a rage. I did not break something. I did not send paragraph after paragraph demanding an explanation. I just sat. And I thought. Not about what she was doing right now. Not about Tyler's hand near her shoulder. I thought about the last 4 months. Because that cold, flat clarity I mentioned, it had a side effect. It made everything suddenly legible. All the things I had chosen not to read, they were reading themselves to me now. The way she started turning her phone screen down at dinner. The way she got slightly tense when I asked about her day, like the question required management. The way she started replying to my texts slower. Not much slower. Just enough. The way she stopped suggesting plans and only responded to mine. The way the laughing, which used to just happen spontaneously, constantly, started feeling like something she had to consciously turn on. And then, and this one hit me hardest, sitting there in my dark living room. I thought about 3 weeks before that night. She had mentioned Tyler. Once. Briefly. In a context that at the time seemed completely innocent. She said something about running into him at a coffee shop near her office. It was fine, she said. Honestly, barely talked. It was nothing. I had nodded. I trust you, I said. And she had looked at me with this expression I couldn't fully read. Something between relief and discomfort. I had filed that look away. I should have opened it then. I left my phone off for the entire night. Slept better than I expected to. Which probably tells you something. Woke up around 7 in the morning. Made coffee. Stood in my kitchen for a while just looking at the still dark phone on the counter. I thought about what I was about to see when I turned it on. I thought about the range of possibilities. Scenario 1. She hadn't noticed the message yet, and I'd be turning the phone on right into the beginning of that conversation. Scenario 2. She'd seen it, panicked, and I'd have a flood of texts waiting. Scenario 3. And this was the one that told me the most about where things stood. She'd seen it, gone quiet, and I'd have nothing. I turned it on. The screen loaded. Notifications came in. 12 texts from Cassie. 2 missed calls. 1 voicemail. I sat down at the kitchen table. I read the texts in order. 8:52 p.m. Wait, what? What party, lol? 8:53 p.m. Are you talking about Brooke's thing? I literally just stopped by for like 20 minutes. 8:57 p.m. Hello. 9:04 p.m. Why aren't you answering? 9:11 p.m. Can you please just call me? 9:24 p.m. Okay, you're clearly mad. I get it. But you're not giving me a chance to explain. 9:41 p.m. Tyler was there. I didn't know he was going to be there. I promise it wasn't planned. 9:42 p.m. It was literally a group thing. It wasn't just us. 10:08 p.m. I'm coming home. Please just talk to me. 10:31 p.m. Okay, you're not picking up. I'm going to try and explain tomorrow. Please don't do anything rash. 11:47 p.m. I love you. I need you to know that. And then, sent at 12:03 a.m. I'm sorry. Just that. No context. No specifics. Just, I'm sorry. I put the phone down, poured more coffee, sat with it. Here's the thing about, I'm sorry, sent at midnight without context. It's not an apology. It's a signal flare. It's saying, I know you know something, and I need to know how much you know before I commit to a version of events. A real apology has specifics. A real apology says what it's sorry for. I'm sorry at midnight, after a string of escalating damage control texts, is not an apology. It's a placeholder. And I'd been with her long enough to know the difference. She called at 9:03 a.m. I let it ring. She called again at 9:17 a.m. I picked up. Hey, I said. Nothing else. Hey. Her voice was careful, controlled. Can we talk? We're talking right now. A pause. In person. Can you come over? Or I can come to you. I thought about it for a moment. Sure, I said. Come here. Okay. Give me an hour. I said nothing. How are you feeling? She asked. And I almost laughed at that. Not a mean laugh. Just a genuine, involuntary reaction to how strange that question sounded. I'll see you in an hour, Cassie. I hung up. She showed up in 52 minutes. Hair in a ponytail. No makeup. Wearing a hoodie I recognized from a trip we took together almost a year ago. I noticed the choice. Whether it was conscious or not, she had dressed down. Soft. Familiar. Unthreatening. I opened the door. She looked at me the way people look at something they broke, searching for how bad the damage actually is. Hi, she said. Come in. We sat at the kitchen table. Not the couch. I chose the table. Because the couch is where we watched movies and fell asleep together. The table is where you have conversations that require chairs facing each other. She noticed. I saw it in the slight pause before she sat down. I want to explain, she said. Okay. Brooke. You know Brooke. She had this spontaneous thing last night. A small get-together at her place. I was going to tell you, but I knew you'd want to come, and I wanted a night to myself with my girlfriends. I wasn't thinking. I should have just told you the truth. I nodded slowly. That's the explanation for why you lied, I said. What's the explanation for Tyler? She shifted. Just barely. He was there because he's dating one of Brooke's friends now. I didn't know he'd be there. Genuinely. Did you talk to him? A beat. Yeah. Briefly. It was a small space. It would have been weird not to. How long is briefly? I don't know. 20 minutes? We were in a group. I looked at her. She held my gaze. For about 4 seconds. Then she looked at the table. And that was the answer. Not the words. The 4 seconds, and then the table. Here's something nobody tells you about confronting a lie. The lie is rarely the whole problem. The lie is usually a symptom. And once you pull on it, once you say that doesn't quite add up, the real issue starts showing itself. Not all at once. In pieces. Like pressure finding cracks. Why didn't you just tell me you wanted a night out with friends? I asked. I don't know. I just felt like you'd make a thing of it. Have I ever made a thing of it? She was quiet. Not exactly. But I could just tell you wouldn't love it. So you lied instead. I didn't lie. I just didn't. Cassie. I said it quietly. Not hard. Just level. You texted me you were going to bed early. While you were at a party. She closed her eyes. I know. And you were with Tyler. I know. So. She opened her eyes. I'm sorry, she said. And there it was again. The same words from midnight. Same absence of specifics. What are you sorry for? I asked. She looked frustrated for a second. And I want to be honest with you. That flash of frustration, brief as it was, told me a lot. Because someone who is genuinely remorseful doesn't get frustrated when asked to be specific. I'm sorry for lying, she said. For going behind your back. For making you feel like you couldn't trust me. She paused. And I know Tyler being there looks bad. Does it look bad, or is it bad? It looks bad, she said. There was a weight to that. The careful word choice. Looks bad. Not as bad. I let it sit there between us. The conversation went in circles for the next half hour. She explained. I asked questions. She re-explained. I listened. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I didn't threaten. I was, externally, completely calm. And I think that scared her more than any of the other options would have. At one point she said, say something. Stop just looking at me like that. Like what? Like you've already decided something. I didn't answer. Because the truth was, I hadn't decided anything yet. But I was getting very close to a decision. And she could feel it. That's what she was afraid of. Not my anger. My quiet. She left around noon. Hugged me at the door. Held it longer than usual. I hugged her back. When she pulled away, she looked at me and said, we're going to be okay, right? I looked at her for a moment. I'll call you later, I said. and I closed the door. I called my best friend Cole about an hour later. Cole and I had been friends since we were teenagers. He was the only person I trusted with anything real. "Talk to me," he said when he picked up. I told him everything. The texts, the story, Tyler, the conversation. He listened without interrupting, which was unusual for him. When I finished, there was a pause. "How are you feeling right now?" he asked. "Honestly, tired. Not angry. I was angry at like 2 in the morning. Woke up tired." Another pause. "Do you believe her?" he asked. About not knowing Tyler would be there. And I sat with that for a second. "I believe she didn't plan it," I said. "I don't think she saw his name on a guest list and thought, perfect. But I think when she got there and he was there, she didn't leave. Yeah, she stayed. And she stayed for long enough that they were close enough for her to put it on her story. And she lied to you before she got there. Right?" Cole was quiet for a moment. "You know what this is actually about," he said. "Yeah. Say it." I exhaled. "It's not about the party. No. It's about the fact that she needed to lie to go. Right? Because she knew there was something about going that needed to be hidden." "Yeah, man," Cole said. "And that was the whole thing. That was the entire center of it. She didn't lie because she did something terrible. She lied because she wanted to do something she knew wasn't fully okay. And she chose the lie over the conversation. She chose the lie over me. I need to tell you something now. Something that happened about 6 weeks before that night. I didn't include it earlier because I wanted you to understand the texture of the relationship first. But now it reframes everything. 6 weeks before that Friday, Cassie and I had a conversation. A real one. We were at dinner, a place we liked near her apartment. And somewhere between the food arriving and the check, she said something that I have turned over in my head probably 1,000 times since. She said, "Do you ever feel like we got serious too fast?" I put my fork down. "What do you mean?" "I don't know. Like we just kind of fell into it. And it's been great." "It has. But sometimes I wonder if we ever really figured out what we individually wanted before we became in US. I looked at her for a long moment. "Is this about something specific?" I asked. "No," she said quickly. "I'm just thinking out loud. Cassie, I'm serious. I'm not. It's not like I want to break up or anything. I love you. I'm just sometimes in my head about stuff. I let it go. I shouldn't have." Looking back, that was the conversation I was supposed to follow up on. That was the door she was leaving open, not to break up, but to say something real. And I walked past it. I said, "Okay," and changed the subject, because the idea of whatever was on the other side of that conversation was too uncomfortable. So she closed the door again and kept it shut. And when whatever was unresolved in her had nowhere to go inside the relationship, it went somewhere else. Cole said something that afternoon that I haven't forgotten. He said, "You can love someone and still be done." I didn't respond right away. "I'm not saying you should be done," he added. "I'm saying you're allowed to be." I nodded even though he couldn't see me. "She's going to ask for another chance," he said. "I know. What are you going to say?" I didn't answer, because I genuinely didn't know yet. She called me at 4 p.m. I picked up. "Can we talk tonight?" she asked. "About what?" "About everything. Properly. I feel like this morning was rushed." "Okay. I'll come over. I'll bring food." Something in me noted that detail. She was bringing food. An offering. A peace gesture. A reason to sit down together and be soft. "Sure," I said. She came over at 7. She brought Thai food from the place I liked specifically, not the one she liked more. Another noticed detail. We ate at the table again. And this time, the conversation was different. More honest. Because she'd had a whole day to sit with her choices and decide what she was willing to say. "I've been struggling," she started. I didn't say anything. "For a few months now. And I know I should have talked to you about it instead of just acting weird and distant." "What kind of struggling?" I asked. She took a breath. "Feeling stuck. Not in a bad way exactly. I love you. But sometimes I feel like I don't know who I am outside of us anymore. Does that make any sense?" "It makes sense," I said. "And Tyler." She paused. Running into him stirred up things I thought were settled. Not feelings for him specifically. More like, I don't know, nostalgia for a version of myself. I looked at her. A version of yourself. Before I was half of something. The honesty in that hit me differently than I expected. Not hard, like an accusation. Soft, like a confession. Like something she'd been holding for months and was finally putting down. "Why didn't you just tell me this?" I asked. 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, any of it. "Because I was afraid." "Of what?" "That you'd think I didn't love you." "Do you love me?" "Yes," she said, without hesitating. I believed her. That was the complicated part. I believed she loved me. And I also understood, clearly, sitting at that table with Thai food going cold between us, that love wasn't the issue. The issue was that she had been disappearing for months and had never once reached toward me. She had reached sideways. She had reached backward toward Tyler. She had reached toward a night out with friends that she lied about to get. But she had never reached toward me. And I had to hold that. I want to work on it, she said. I know you do. Do you want to work on it? I didn't answer immediately. I don't know yet, I said. She flinched. I need a few days, I said. To think clearly. Not from an emotional place. Are you breaking up with me? I said I need a few days. That sounds like a yes. Cassie. I looked at her. I need a few days. That's what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like anything else. She nodded. Pressed her lips together. Didn't cry, and I noticed that too. She was holding it together. Which told me she was also processing something on her side that went deeper than just wanting me to stay. Those few days were some of the strangest of my life. The apartment felt different. Quieter in a specific way. Not peaceful quiet, but charged quiet, like the air after lightning. I worked. I went to the gym. I called my mom, not to tell her anything specific, just to hear a voice that had known me my whole life. She asked if I was okay. I said I was figuring something out. She said, "You usually already know. You just hate admitting it." Moms. Cole checked in twice a day. On the second day, he texted, "Whatever you decide, I'm not going to have an opinion about it." I sent back, "You always have an opinion about everything." He replied, "I know," which is how you know I mean it. On the third day, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I opened Cassie's Instagram. Not to look for more evidence. Just to look. Her last post was from 3 weeks ago. A photo of her at a coffee shop. Bright window behind her. She looked happy in it. Easy. I scrolled back further. Further. Looking at 2 years of her face. Her face at the beach trip we took. Her face on New Year's. Her face on what she'd captioned Best Lazy Sunday. That day was at my apartment. I remembered it. She'd made pancakes at 11 in the morning, and we'd eaten them standing up in the kitchen because neither of us wanted to wait to sit down. I closed the app, put the phone on the counter, stood there for a while, and I made my decision. Not because of Tyler. I want to be clear about that. Tyler was a symptom, just like the lie was a symptom. They were signals pointing at the actual thing. The actual thing was this. She had been drifting towards something unspoken for months. She had never chosen to tell me. She had found ways to manage that thing privately. Nights out she didn't mention, conversations she kept vague, texts turned face down. And when I'd tried, once or twice, to crack the door open, "You seem kind of far away lately," she'd said. "I'm fine. I'm just tired. I'm fine. I'm just tired." That was what she'd given me. Not the dinner table conversation about feeling stuck. Not the version of herself she was missing. Not any of it. She'd given me "I'm fine," and saved the real thing for the moments when she was away from me. And I could not build a relationship on "I'm fine." I could not be with someone who found it easier to disappear than to say something hard. Because the thing is, I would have listened. If she had said, "I'm feeling lost and I don't know who I am outside of us" 6 months ago, I would have listened. We could have worked on it. We could have given each other space, or done something different, or had 10 hard conversations and come out stronger. But she didn't say it. She managed it. She managed me. And that's what ended it. Not the party. Not Tyler. The management. I called her on the 4th day. Not a text. A call. She picked up on the second ring. "Hi," she said. Her voice was different. Braced. She already knew. People always already know. "Can you come over?" I asked. "Okay." She got there in 35 minutes. I had made tea, which felt slightly absurd in the moment, but I needed something to do with my hands. She sat down at the table. I sat across from her. "I've thought about it a lot," I said. She nodded. "I believe you that you love me. I'm not questioning that. But," she said quietly, "but I can't be with someone who goes somewhere else with the hard things." She opened her mouth. I kept going. "Not because you did it once, but because I can see, looking back, that this has been the pattern for a while. You don't bring me the hard stuff. You manage it alone, or you go around me. And I can't be a partner to someone who sees me as something to be managed." Her eyes were wet. "I know," she said. Those 2 words. Just, "I know." No argument. No defense. She knew. "I'm not doing this because I stopped loving you," I said. "I know," she said again. "I just need someone who." "I know." Her voice broke a little on the third one. We sat there. The tea steamed between us. "I'm sorry," she said. And this time the apology had a different weight. No damage control left. No version of events left to protect. Just the raw thing. Just sorry. I believe this one. I know, I said back. She left around 9. No dramatic exit. No door slam. She picked up her jacket. I walked her to the door. She paused on the threshold. For what it's worth, she said, the 2 years were real. I know they were. I'm going to miss you. I looked at her. I'm going to miss you too. She nodded. And then she walked down the hallway, and I closed the door, and that was that. A week passed. Then 2. Qley came over once, and we ordered pizza and watched something loud and didn't talk about her at all, which was exactly what I needed. I went back to work. I started running in the mornings, which I hadn't done in months. I called my mom more often. I slept earlier. I cooked at home more than I had in a long time. Nothing dramatic. Nothing cinematic. Just the slow, unglamorous business of restructuring your day when someone's absence leaves a specific hole in it. About 3 weeks after it ended, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. I opened it. Hey, this is Tyler. I got your number from Brooke. I know this is weird, but I wanted to reach out. I stared at it for a moment. Then I kept reading. Cassie and I are not together. Not now, not then. I don't know what you know about that night, but I want to be straight with you. Nothing happened. She talked about you more than anything that night. I just thought you should know. I read it twice. Then I put the phone down. Picked it up again. Thought about what to say. And then I decided not to say anything. Not because I didn't believe him. Not because I was still angry. But because it didn't change what I'd decided. The point was never Tyler. The point was never what happened at that party. The point was what happened in all the space before the party. All the quiet, small moments where she chose not to reach toward me. Tyler reaching out to tell me nothing happened was kind. Genuinely. But it was information about the wrong question. So I put my phone down. And I went for a run. About 6 weeks after it ended, I ran into Brooke at a grocery store. Of all places. She saw me first. Called my name across the produce section. I stopped. She came over with a basket full of vegetables and this expression that was trying to figure out what kind of interaction we were about to have. Hey, she said. Hey, Brooke. How are you? Better, I said honestly. You? Good. She paused. I wanted to say sorry. For my part in it. I knew she told you she was staying in that night. I nodded. I should have said something, she said. It's not your responsibility. Still, she's my friend, and I let her do something dumb. I thought about it. She wasn't being dumb, I said. She just wasn't ready to have a real conversation yet. Brooke looked at me with this expression I couldn't quite read. Yeah, she said after a moment. That's a generous way to see it. Not generous, I said. Just accurate. We stood there for an extra second. She misses you, Brooke said. For what it's worth. I know she does, I said. Doesn't make you reconsider? No. She nodded, like she understood. Take care of yourself, she said. You too. And we went in opposite directions. There's something nobody talks about when it comes to endings like this one. The endings that happen not because someone was terrible, not because someone stopped loving you, not because there was a huge, definable betrayal, but because of accumulation. The slow, quiet accumulation of small moments where two people chose not to say the real thing. Those endings are the hardest to explain to people. Because when someone asks why you broke up, and you try to describe it, the pieces individually sound small. She lied about going to a party. Her ex was there. She'd been a little distant for a few months. She said she felt stuck. And people hear those pieces and think, that's it? That's why you ended 2 years. But the ending wasn't any one of those things. The ending was what those things, combined, revealed. That she had learned to live around me instead of with me. That the version of herself she showed me was increasingly the managed version. That the distance between us had grown by the width of every conversation she decided not to have. And by the time I was looking at that Instagram story on a Friday night, the distance was already too wide to cross without one of us fundamentally changing. And maybe we could have both changed. Maybe. But she hadn't been willing to start that before the party. And I wasn't willing to start it after. I want to tell you one more thing before this ends. About 3 months later, I was out with Qley at a bar. Nothing special, just a Thursday. And at some point he looked over at me and said, "You good?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. Yeah, I said. Actually, yeah. No regrets. Not about the decision. About anything? I considered. Yeah, I said. I regret not following up on that dinner conversation. The one where she said we got serious too fast. Qley nodded. If I'd asked more questions. Sat with it. Pushed a little. I took a sip. Maybe we fix it then and never get to that Friday. Or maybe you find out 6 months earlier and end up at the same place. Qley said. Maybe. Either way, I agreed. We sat with that for a moment. Thing is, Qley said, you could only work with what she gave you. I looked at him. She gave you I'm fine. Yeah. You can't build on I'm fine. No, I said. You really can't. Some time has passed now. I'm not going to tell you I'm completely over it, because that would be a lie, and this whole story has been about what lies cost. But I'm okay. Genuinely okay. Not getting there okay. Arrived okay. The mornings are mine again. The evenings are mine again. I talk to people I care about without a low-grade hum of something being wrong. And I've learned something. Not something I'll put in a caption or embroider on a pillow. Just something I know now that I didn't fully know before. There's a specific kind of courage required in a relationship. The courage to say the hard thing while there's still time. The courage to say, I'm losing myself, or I'm scared, or something's wrong and I don't know how to name it, but I need you to sit with me while I try. That kind of courage. And when two people both choose silence over that courage, or when one of them does, the relationship doesn't end in a fight. It ends in a drift. And then one Friday night someone posts an Instagram story 17 minutes after telling you they're going to bed early. And you look at it, and you type 2 words, and you turn off your phone. And something that had been ending for months finally, quietly, ends. She texted me, I'm just at home relaxing tonight. While her Instagram story showed her at a party with her ex. I replied with one message, nice party. Then turned off my phone completely. And what I learned was this. Sometimes the quietest thing you can do is also the most honest. And sometimes the person you love the most was never really letting you in. You just loved them too much to see the door was closed.